Yo, Still Bills, what's the deal, man? Yo, man, I was in the process of making a video, and my wife texted me, and I had to respond to her. And with me responding to her, my fucking video cut out on me, so I got to start all this over again, man. So, peep game, let's get in. Let's jump right into it, man. And I want to rap about this David Benavidez versus Jesse Hart fight. That's potentially in the making, man. Listen, man, I'm not mad at the fight, right? Like, there's some people who feel some type of way about it, but I'm not mad at the fight. I feel like it's a you're mad at the fight if you view David Benavidez in a certain light. You dig what I'm saying? If David Ben and I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad that you would think that, man. But when you look at him from a certain paradigm and of a certain context, you understand why this isn't a bad fight at all. Why it's a pretty logical fight. It is. I never thought highly of David Benavidez, man. You see him when you see how he fights. You understand his habits. You understand his strong suits. You understand his weaknesses. This is not a dude that I ever thought was gonna be a fucking champion at heavyweight. This is not a dude that I thought was gonna be able to deal with someone like Bivol and Benavidez. I've never seen it from this dude. I've never seen it. So from when you look at it like that, it's like, yo, well, it makes sense why he fights somebody like a Jesse Hart, which really isn't even a bad fight. But the thing is this also, if you're someone who's rated to be a potential heavyweight champion or someone who's going to be able to dethrone the winner of Bivol and Beterbiev, then this is a step backwards for you. This is a step down because you're already being mentioned by some of the goons in the division. You swimming with the sharks. Let people tell it. You swimming with the sharks. Already, your name is worthy of you being thrown in there in the croc pool, and you about to fight Jesse Hart? Like, no, and I'm not mad at the fight because I'm like, now Jesse Hart isn't a dude that's gonna give you the same type of looks as not Bivol, but Vosdick. I don't think he's nearly as good as Vosdick. It's not even a thing. I know he isn't nearly as good as Vosdick. Well, with Vosdick at his heyday, but even Vosdick was able to, man, when you able to bust somebody's eye up and break their hands and their ribs, yikes. In a loss, or you're able to do that type of damage to somebody in a loss, bro. Yikes. David Benavidez went in there with Vosdick and did not look as sharp. He didn't look as dominant as we're accustomed to seeing him look because he stepped up a division. And as I've been telling people, he's not outskilling people, he's outsizing them. That matters, man. So what happens when you're dealing with somebody who may not necessarily be eye level with you? Like, let's say he get in there with Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard ain't eye level with fucking David Benavidez, but his frame is beefier. So he's not going to be able to have that level of success that he had with Plant or Andre that he had with someone like that. He won't be able to duplicate that level of success that he had with Plant and Andre with Anthony Yard because Anthony Yard is just a beefier fighter. You dig? So when you look at it from that paradigm, I'm not mad at this fight. I don't think Jesse Hart is going to be able to get. I think it's a good fight because Jesse Hart is a lot fresher. He's been fighting at a reasonably higher level than Vosdick was, and he didn't go and sit on the couch for about 3 years. He didn't do none of that. He didn't do none of that. He's been active. He's been active, man. So I'm not mad at the fight, but that's simply because I don't think that highly of David Benavidez. I just don't. I've never thought this dude was that guy. I will never forgive Jim Lampley as long as this dude has been involved in the sport. I will never forgive this dude saying that he thinks that this man can be a future heavyweight champion, bro. And then you go and you look the way that you looked at 175 pounds, 2, 3, depending on what sanctioned body you in, 2, 3 divisions south of heavyweight. You dig? I'm like, y'all got to stop preordaining these dudes. I've said that before. Stop giving these dudes extra credit for some shit that they didn't do. I'm not mad at a fight with Jesse Hart. I'm not mad at that fight because I understand David Benavidez's limitations. I understand that he's not who it is that y'all think that he is. He's not. He never has been. But I also am of the mindset that because you are being rated in a manner that says you're a pound for pound caliber fighter, why are you fighting Jesse Hart? Why are you fighting Jesse Hart when you allegedly about to be the dude, when you're allegedly the dude to dethrone Bavard and Benavidez? And why is it that it's acceptable for you to fight Jesse Hart when you got David Morrell right over there in the same division as you, in the same stable as you, who chased you up the division, who chased you up to that division, literally chased you. He's literally chasing you, and you're acting as if this dude doesn't exist. Canelo was supposed to acknowledge you, but you don't need to, acknowledge David Morrell. Just it once again goes back to expectation. We know who you admire through the expectation that you have through through certain fighters. I'm if you can throw salt, you can throw salt on Canelo for not fighting David Benavidez, but just completely dismiss David Benavidez, ignoring David Morrell. You a different type of nigga, man. You're placing high expectation on fighters who are overly accomplished and are first ballot walking active Hall of Famers, but you have a lesser expectation of the fighters that you swear by that will beat these fighters that you have a higher expectation of, man. But Spence can look y'all dead in y'all face and say, why not just take the easy route as it pertains to Bud? Why not just take the easy route? And it's as if he never said that shit. It's as if he never said that shit. All while y'all are denigrating Terrence Crawford for taking the fights that he's fighting, even though they're good fights. Spence never said, why not take the easy route? He never said that according to y'all. And if he did, all well. I've heard niggas say that. I've said it before. You supposed to promote for the other team. It ain't about promoting for the, well, actually it is, because this is a fight that your fighter is going to be fighting in. So you want your audience and his audience to know about this motherfucker that he about to fight. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, you niggas is clueless. You niggas is clueless. You got niggas who will look you dead in your face and tell you that Anthony Joshua was manufactured. He was never really a champion. He never beat an established champion. He was protected by Eddie Hearn. He was spoon-fed. He was this and that and the third. Never mind, he has to this day the most top 10 top 10 fighters defeated in the division on his resume. Never mind all of that. That shit ain't about nothing. That don't matter. That don't matter. That he was manufactured, bro. He was spoon-fed. He's this and that. He's soft. Meanwhile, Deontay Wilder, as an active world champion, was fighting unranked fighters and bottom 50 opponents, bro, and struggling with a lot of them. Struggling, legitimately struggling. All that shit gets dismissed, but the fighters who put in an ample amount of road work, all of their contributions to the sport gets ignored and casted to the side. They become the illegitimate stepchildren when they're doing the most they're doing what it is that you want, that you ask the fighters that you have a higher expectation of to do. They're doing that. And none of it, just all of that shit gets ignored. All of it gets ignored. For y'all to hype niggas who have done absolutely nothing or next to nothing. It's past ridiculous. It is past ridiculous. It's downright disgusting, man. It's downright, it's filthy work, it's pathetic, it's all of that. Whatever word you can think of is what it is. Whatever word you want to use, that's what it is. You dig? So it's acceptable for David Benavidez to be a nigga who can beat Dimitri Bivol because he beat the shit out of him in sparring. He can beat Artur Beterbiev. He could beat, he could be a potential heavyweight champion. He could be all that shit. But it's cool for him to go and fight Jesse Hart. That's acceptable for him to go and fight Jesse Hart. It just makes no sense, man. And I'm going to say it again. I do not mind the Jesse Hart fight, but that's only because I understand David Benavidez's limitations. I understand David Benavidez is not who y'all think he is. I understand that shit. Y'all don't. Y'all don't. And even for the ones who do understand it, y'all don't care because, y'all, because Y'all are comfortable with just protecting this man's y'all are comfortable with just having him fight whoever. Like, it doesn't matter to y'all. But he's entitled to the moon and the stars. He's entitled to the moon and the stars. I can't understand. I can't begin to fathom how you guys' mental works. This is a cool fight. I'm not mad at it. Jesse Hart and David Benavidez is a cool fight. Only because I understand that David Benavidez is not who y'all think he is. It's a cool fight. Only for that matter. I mean, only for that reason. It's a cool fight. That's the long and short of it, man. That is the long and short of it. So I think he could give him good looks. I think he's going to be able to give him good work. I think he's going to be able to give David Benavidez good work. I do. I think he'll give him some good work. David Benavidez should come out victorious. I know that much. You dig? You was just talking about fighting Zordo up at Cruiserweight. You better go in here and beat this dude. And you better make it look easy, too. Because he's a little bit more regressed than what he was when he fought Zordo them 2 times. And the only reason why he got a split decision with Zordo in the rematch is because Zordo broke his hand. So you better go in there and beat on this dude. You better win. Because if you don't, bro, that's a bad look. And if you don't, not even just win, I'm talking about, it needs to be a unanimous decision. Because you can't go in there and afford to look pedestrian against someone like a fucking Jesse Hart. You couldn't afford to do that with Volzdik. You couldn't afford to do that with him, but they'll ignore that. They'll ignore that because you won the fight. They'll ignore it. But they won't speak on the shit that they saw in the fight, not truthfully, because it hurts them too much to speak on it truthfully. And they won't speak on you completely ignoring David Morrell. They're gonna dismiss that they're gonna completely dismiss that. They're gonna completely dismiss that. You don't have to fight David Morrell. What do you mean? You don't know. You don't need to fight that. I heard Nestor say, shout out Nestor. I heard Nestor say, yo, man, David Morrell, he ain't put in the same amount of work that David Benavidez had. How? You're speaking as if David Benavidez is you're speaking as if David Benavidez is ran through a gauntlet of champions and top 10 and top 20 and top 15 opponents, and he hasn't. Why isn't he entitled to just, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I'm not mad at this fight. I'm going to be real with you, man. I'm not mad at this fight, but that's because I understand what David Benavidez is. I understand what David Benavidez is. And he's not who y'all think he is. Him versus Jesse Hart is a good fight. When y'all sit back and y'all understand that this dude is not about to beat Bivol and Beterbiev, you understand that this is a good fight. When you sit back and you understand that he's not going to be a champion at heavyweight, you understand that this is a good fight. When you sit back and you see that him versus David Morrell is actually a competitive fight, you understand why this is a good fight. You understand that. Because he's just not what y'all think he is. And it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I'm not mad at the fight. I do think he should be fighting Morrell because y'all are on the same schedule. Y'all are on the same schedule. Y'all both had a fight this year. Y'all both had a fight this year. Y'all are both on the same side of the street. Morrell let me see, you talking December, August, September, October, November. Y'all, that's 4 months. They be wilding over here, man. That's 4 months, though. That's 4 months. Y'all got that? Why can't y'all line that up with each other? Why? Because this is another marination tactic, man. David Benavidez is already on record saying, I see me and David Morrell happening. We're both champions. Who's to say that y'all both gonna be champions up there? Who's to say that if Artur Beterbiev wins, he's not going to jump up? Who's to say he's not gonna want to make those title defenses? If Dimitri Bivol wins, what the fuck you think you gonna do with Bivol? You should be fighting David Morrell. You definitely should be fighting David Morrell. I don't think it's right that people get to ignore the fact that people just are just completely oblivious to the fact that you just will not say David Morrell's name or give him that same energy. You won't do it. Your eyes are fixated on something bigger than David Morrell, and you're mad that Canelo's eyes are fixated on something bigger than you. Even though Berlanga isn't bigger than you, he's just he's ignoring you or whatever. It's more understanding for him to do that because how the dumb shit that you was acting. You don't get to be in a position to act like that with David Morrell because you're not as accomplished. You're not you on undercard still. You dig? You don't get to Don John Gotti somebody. You don't get to do that. You don't get to be Don Vito. You're not a Don, bro. You a capo regime. That's what you are. You dig? You still got to make your bones and your earnings and take that, take a percentage of what it is you made to the boss. That's what you are. You still got to kiss the ring when you walk into the meeting. You got to do that shit. You dig? Nigga had to open up the books on you. I'm on some mob shit right now, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm on some mob shit. But the way that Canelo is acting with you, you don't get to do that with David Morrell because you're not as accomplished. You're not your career, your trajectory between you and Morrell isn't as massive as yours is between you and Canelo because you've only won a belt in one division. You ain't beat nobody notable to gain it, to win that belt. So I do think you should be fighting David Morrell. I honestly do. But I'm not mad at you versus Jesse Hart. I'm honestly not. I swear to God, I'm not. It's a cool fight. And you better win that fight too, if that fight does actually take place. If it does take place. So, yeah, man. If that fight goes down, I'll be tuning in. I'm not paying $80 for that shit. I promise to God I'm not. Because none of you niggas is pay-per-view worthy fighters. You dig? And that's just what that is. So, I'll be tuning in though. I'll definitely be tuning in. And yeah, man. That's how I'm feeling about it. We'll see how you look with Jesse Hart. And you better look spectacular against Jesse Hart, man. I'm here to pick up my kids and I'm going home. I'll get with y'all later, yo. Y'all stay righteous.